Hello. Welcome to Frida Miletsky Healing Arts. I'm your host, Frida, and I am the healing artist. Friends, I am so incredibly excited to share my friend Toni Julian with you today. She is a conscious leadership speaker, holistic wellness mentor, medical intuitive, nutrition and fitness expert, author, and fellow podcaster, amongst many, many other things. It's really like what hasn't Toni tried? And is the creator of the Soul Potential Institute. Toni is here with me today because I just absolutely adore her. When I think of her energy, I just want to sit at her feet and learn everything because she's had such an incredibly epic journey, and it is such an honor for her to be with us here today.
Rita, thank you. That is probably the warmest, most heart-centered, authentic introduction I've ever had on a podcast or a speaking engagement. Thank you. Right from the heart. You got it.
Well, something I adore about you, I think we were in a class together and I was like, not to put you on the spot. And you were like, I love being on the spot. I love speaking. Put me on the spot. And I was just like, I want to be like that.
Be like that. Well, it took me a long time to be comfortable with being on the spot, right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's part of the work, right?
It is. It is. And being flexible and being in flow is just important. So I think we get, more quality in our lives when it's not scripted, right? Because amazing things comes up when you're not planning for it. If we're in touch with our higher selves, the divine, it's like what comes through. You can't plan that stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like we have nothing planned for the today outside of I promised actually my podcast audience like a month or two ago that you would maybe I would ask if you could do that wrecking ball meditation that we did. And thankfully you are actually here and we're going to do it. But outside of that, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Toni. What are you up to these days?
A lot of different things. It's all in alignment with the purpose that I have found for myself. And it's taken a lot of years to figure that out. And for decades, I have taught nutrition and fitness and kind of lived in the 3D world. And now it's really morphed into very heart-centered types of experiences for people, not just the general public, but companies as well. Because what I'm realizing after doing this for quite some time is that to make an impact, some people are really great at just being that one person and they get a lot of followers and they have all this charisma and momentum and that's all wonderful. However, there are companies out there, not just in the United States, but worldwide, where they really can improve their businesses by improving and offering the kinds of nurturing support to individuals. So
Mm,
when and it's not about business per se, this is really about the individual, and the individual makes the family, and the individual makes the community, and the individual makes the company that they're working in, right? So it's really primarily a way to impact more people on a larger scale where they don't have to pay for it. The company will pay for it, right?
right,
So
right.
to me, it's more accessible. So I'm working quite hard on, well, not just hard, but it's fun. It's very intense work where I'm designing uh, programs for companies or experiences for companies where they can roll that out to all of their managers, their directors, their teams, and find out really from them, are they in alignment with the CEO's vision? Or are they out of alignment with it? And
Right.
going through surveys and using my intuition around that, my medical intuition, to bring wellness into the individual so that the company is also whole, because people are the foundation of the company. People are people, right? So there was this whole paradigm of the patriarchy that viewed individuals just as a resource, not as a
Right.
person.
Well, which we are currently watching fall.
We are currently watching
Hallelujah.
that crumble away. Hallelujah. Get ready for me. My timing is perfect on all of this.
Yes.
And so, that is falling away, but then what happens? My body's vibrating. So Okay, I am meant to talk about this. That's my sign from source that we're on track with the conversation that was meant to have that we did not plan. Is that, once we get into this alignment, it's we're really left with, what do we rebuild? How do we rebuild? How do we envision the world that we want it to be? And companies are a huge part of this because almost everybody needs to work. Everybody needs a job. Everyone has their business community, right? They've got their
Yes.
personal neighborhood community. They have their families, their friends, those other additional circles, and their concentric circles. And so the business community is important because they're going to help set the tone. Like, where do we need to put our resources? Where should we put our time, our attention? Well, there are and will be a lot of people that need healing.
Yeah, and like also just treating within a business maybe more of the idea of it being like an organic moving structure as opposed to in the past I feel like you are a peg or cog in the wheel of this moving big mechanical structure and it's more like it's sort of evolving into maybe a more growing thing that is evolving with the people within it. How can they grow together and more and be more, well, heart-centered and holistic, right?
Exactly. You could not have put it better. And what that describes is an energetic ecosystem. And that's what I'm here to shift.
Ooh, I love that.
Ooh, it's an energetic,
Oh, I just got the
and it
chills.
really is. I know, me too. And because it really is the individual's energy, and it's got to come from the top down. And we're talking about layers top to bottom, and it's really flipping that upside down. It's taking the teams, the employees, and making them a priority, and then their health and wellness and their perceptions and their attitudes and the energy they bring and the enthusiasm, all that trickles to the through middle management, through directors, to the CEO, right? And so the CEO can say, okay, these objectives are great, these overarching ideas that we have, our mission. uh, People will sign up to be a part of purpose-driven companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we want. We want purpose, and we want more than we're going to go to work and spend the majority of our lives either in an office or out in the field or whatever type of job that entails. We all want to have purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And so if companies can offer these safe, I call them sacred spaces for people to grow and to nurture them and for people to feel psychologically safe in these spaces. I just think that's so important. So what I'm up to these days, I am shifting that into businesses because I've owned, I think, 7 or 8 businesses. I've
It's so
lost
amazing.
track over many decades. And so, I have that experience in business. I have that
Mhm.
experience managing people and being part of teams and looking at the health of the business, and the health of the individuals contribute to the financial health, and then the financial health of the business supports the individual. So it is an ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah. And one that honestly, I don't feel like there has been a ton of concern in the way you're talking about it. I mean, that's what we're looking at is people don't even want to work, right? Like, because they don't want to work in places that they feel super bad about themselves or that it's painful,
Yeah.
squeezed so much and not paid correctly or given the resources that you need to do the stuff. Um, so yeah, even just turning away from being in that kind of environment. So it is like making it maybe more available for people to want to be part of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look at working with women, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's a really special aspect of that because women do want that community. They do want to bring that wisdom, not just from what they learn on the outside, but their own internal wisdom and intuition, and their wisdom and intuition from their generations of wise women before them, not
Yes.
just in their own families, their ancestral heritage, but also through other people that have mentored them. And so
We are
I
used to
think,
having our hearts cracked open and leading from the heart space more, I feel it.
hmm
Men are. We're even
hmm
just like even just nurtured more as children to be able to show our emotions, learn what they are, and then foster them and help the world around us in that way.
Yes, I think a lot of women have. I was not. And I know there are many women that were not raised to feel safe to open their heart. So it did take me a long time of
That's what we've
self
been up
work.
to, girl.
I know. Exactly.
We had to reparent ourselves over here.
We did lots of repair, lots of healing, but also like amazing growth because we wouldn't be the people that we are without having that empathy and understanding. So I do think that, we and if we take this and foster it within companies, because I know there are a lot of people, we all have stories, right? None of us were born into these perfect families. Well, I think several were, but there are so many that haven't been. So to feel safe, to be able to open our hearts and oh, so back in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s even, it was women had to pit themselves against each other.
I remember it. Yes.
You do.
Mhm.
Yes. And I worked at a really large semiconductor company. I think I started in the late 80s, early 90s, I think no, mid 80s. And women just were not supportive to each other because it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
It really wasn't safe.
There weren't enough positions. So it's like, just to like claw in and get higher and higher. There wasn't even like, it's like you're fighting for resources.
Yes, because so many doors were closed to women,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
I mean, and it's a
Right.
terrible way to be, but I mean, that was just, yeah.
Hmm.
And I haven't personally experienced that, but I understand it from the zeitgeist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so the generations of women that have come from that are still here. We're still in the business world, and so we can see that, that trend improving. We'll see if that continues to improve. I think with enough people like us, it will just continue. And especially, I mean, that's why I've had so many businesses is that I created, they say bring your own chair to the table. I created my own table because there weren't not those opportunities. So there are a lot of women that are entrepreneurs and that trend's just been going really well too. So yeah, to open our hearts to younger generations and peers and people who haven't had that as well. It's just another layer of healing that we can bring
Mhm.
to people. And then there's education for men too, right? There's kind of the flip side of that.
And how is that going? What does that look like?
Well, so I think it's around sensitivity training. So I do a lot of work for Rebecca Children's Services in Gilroy, California. So it's south of San Jose, San Francisco area. And there are young boys and girls, men and women, teens into their early 20s that I work with. And it's amazing how prevalent it is even in these types of environments with younger people where maybe the boys don't know how to treat the girls. They don't
Right.
know how to talk respectfully to them. They don't understand that it's already hard for these girls to speak up and use their voice if it's a male dominated environment. And many still are. And even if it's not, it's just this, programming that's been a part of society. So getting some of these boys and young men to really be respectful
Mhm.
of young girls and their boundaries and to not just respect their boundaries, but stand up for them. And that's for everybody, right? So anybody that you see being harmed in some way or belittled, that's been my path anyways. I'm going to stand up to anyone, and I don't care if they're twice my size. It's not about that.
Mhm.
But I think like so I've raised one son and three daughters, so I have more like feminine experience with the divine feminine than the masculine. But really teaching young boys having good father figures and roles, and they don't necessarily have that either,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So just teaching, I think it just comes down to the mutual respect, knowing that we are all one, we truly are, that love is at the center and the heart for absolutely everything, and giving people of all ages tools to expand their awareness around that. And I think the more spiritual ones already see this equality, already know that we are one. And so,
It is a
yeah,
message
that's
we need on blast.
full on blast.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And we're making great strides. I just think there is still so much more to do.
Yeah, well, it feels like, I mean, as the patriarchy crumbles and falls apart, we're watching it sort of fall away at this moment. Like that, I feel like what you're putting together right now is going to have you like by the time it's ready to go, it's going to be in position, tested, and ready for companies because they might be getting an awareness that they actually, in order to serve humanity better, do need to jump on board with sort of like the elevation of the energy of the planet and it will no longer tolerate unhappy employees and people that are having a hard time and we need to get in there and address the depression and the anxiety and people shaking from wanting to go to work because not wanting to go to work because it's challenging and making it a place where they actually can feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yes, and to really have that as an extension of their community and their family and to collaborate freely and safely. Like that's how I envision these companies. And so some of them do it better than others, right?
And when you say that, it's so hard so we both came from a background of event planning. We both know about it.
Right.
Love that so much. I'm trying to think. So, like some of these big companies I've worked for, oh man, like so many of the Silicon Valley and Bay Area, the biggies.
Hmm.
I can't even imagine this being in place at this point. There's like one place that I can imagine it might work out. Um, it seems like it would be easier to do on a small scale at a smaller company. What are your thoughts on that? How big are you
Yeah,
thinking?
sure. Yeah, so I think ultimately the larger companies there are many levels. I think they have the resources to do more, so they'll say, "Okay, we were going to have 8 kitchens at our facility and we're going to do all these things and we have initiatives for employee wellness, so they'll bring massage therapists." So they have all the trappings
Mm-hmm.
of an environment that fosters self-care, but yet they don't foster work-life balance or
Yeah.
you're coming out of an intense meeting. Is there a meditation room you can go to? Can you go outside and ground and go sit with the trees and in nature and just release it all before you go into the next meeting so you're not bringing that energy with you? So there's not an awareness. It's more like some of the companies I've encountered are let's have these wellness initiatives so we can get claim an award that we are in the top X number of companies that do this, and some of them are great. I'm not saying that this is across the board, but what I have noticed is that some simply want to check the box. They simply
Agreed.
want to say, I have this and I have this and I have this, and so therefore we're doing it. What I am proposing is a system where I come in, I take their strategic plans, and I extrapolate out what is going to impact the employee's well-being. And from that, I'm going to use, and I am already doing this. I've been rolling it out with a pilot program. I'm going to use my intuition. I'm going to use AI. I'm going to use leadership, and I'm going to use wellness.
Mhm.
And I'm going to create surveys that actually survey the CEO and all the different levels within a company to say, are you really checking the boxes? Do your people feel like these things are in alignment? Are they really helping them? And then how to make that measurable, right? And so that is I think going to be something like you asked for smaller companies initially,
Uh-huh.
companies of maybe, I mean, it could be 30 people all the way, up to a couple of thousand maybe,
Yeah, yeah. I'm super excited
right?
to see how it all rolls out, progresses
Yeah.
and changes and morphs. And as you're doing it, I'm sure it'll totally evolve along the way too. But I definitely sense an opening for this because companies are going to have to get on board because they're going to fall away if they're not working. Like,
They will. If they want to be competitive,
yeah.
talk about competitive. So I was doing an event. I was doing a talk on well-being and healthy lifestyle and nutrition, and I did a blessing ceremony and sound bowl healing, and it was for all the employees at this 300-person company. And I could hear the HR person right as I was setting up, and she was in the front of the building, and she was talking with somebody who was interviewing
Hmm.
for a position at that company. And the gal said, my client told me this later. She said, the gal said, "What? You have Tony Julian there? Okay, I'll accept the position. You're doing that? You're doing those things?
Oh,
I'll,
that's so exciting.
I'll accept the position." So it was a factor in them being more
That's cool.
marketable, attractive to
Yeah,
an employee. And the
that's
other thing,
cool.
isn't that great?
Yes.
That was cool. And the other thing I want to mention is, and this can lead us into some of the conversations that we're having here, is that people don't understand the impact of their words. And in companies, they don't understand whether they're setting something up that is energetic and heart opening, or if it shuts people down based on their words, their thoughts, their feelings, their intentions, their
Yes.
words. And so that's a big thing that I teach is, what we put out there. And so if you think of a company, you can think of any company and you can feel its energy,
Yes. Yes.
right? And so that energy that we're feeling is because of all the thoughts, the feelings that those employees put out there, and that the management puts out. And what the management puts out is even stronger, more energetically like infused with the all the energies of that company, right?
Hmm.
And so we can apply that to our own lives too, and think about the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that we put out into the world,
Yes.
and how do we deal with those, right?
Yes. I'm actually just pause here for a second. I actually
Yeah.
want to really let that one sink in because now I kind of want to spend the rest of my day going around. It's like, how do I feel about Lake Ridge Athletic Club? It's like really like sink into it. Like it's like, what is each little thing that we consume and what we're paying attention to and the different apps and different television subscriptions, like all the different things that we're tapped into, like which ones are serving and which ones actually have a feeling of something that is helping us or
Mm-hmm.
for us as opposed to what does it feel like? Yeah. One of the big
Yeah.
ones that's in Silicon Valley, which is the biggest, and we all know what that is without having to say
Mm-hmm.
it, the thing.
Mm-hmm. The thing.
Uh-huh, the place. We worked for them I hundreds of times. And it's a hard place to work. It's icky. It feels rough. And you'd think, but the outside trappings are they give you absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the employees are absolutely taken care of. Isn't it wonderful that there's sleeping pods with video monitoring of your house where you can check in with your children? It's like, that's so weird. How about you get to go home to your kids? It's super, but meanwhile, it has the massage chairs and you can scooter from here to here or like all of that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, here, we'll oil change your car for you. It's like because you don't have time to get your oil changed
Exactly.
or your clothes
Exactly.
cleaned at the dry cleaner. It's like,
Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly right. And it is. And I think that it's so important for us to remove the programming that's being spoon-fed to us into believing that that's the right way to live.
quite frankly, normal. It became so normalized to us, especially,
Normalized.
yeah, all those years that I
Yeah.
worked with the event planning company. It was just what I was seeing was normal, but it's not. So
No.
again, coming
No.
back, like you talk about, coming back to being heart-centered
Mm-hmm.
and checking in with what that is for each one of us. Yeah.
That's really powerful because we can get so caught up into all these things that are either telling us how we should think or behave or be, or distracting us so much that we don't touch base with ourselves and who we really are. And this is really prevalent with young teen girls, especially. And so I
Mm.
do a lot of retreats for them, and that is another thing that I'm doing right now because such a pivotal time for them. They're in high school, they're going off to college, and that foundation work needs to be there
Mhm.
for our youth, for our young girls. And boy, I would think back like, geez, it would have been so nice if I had something like that instead of a dysfunctional mother, you know? It would have been so nice. Just some sort of, gee, things don't have to be like this just because it is the way it is. And that creates a sense of normal. So, like you're saying with companies, this big company is if you're in something long enough, that becomes a new normal. And
Hmm.
we distance ourselves from our authentic selves and what we really need from a physical level, an emotional level, a spiritual level. We're very, very distracted and removed from all that. And I think that's a disservice. And, some people are happy there, and that's great. I'm not being judgmental around it at all. I know for me, and, I mean, we're here because of our spiritual development. We're here
Hmm.
because we are in touch with that. We do desire to live heart centered. We demonstrate that. We live our lives that way.
Right.
We are role models in that capacity. And I just think about who you are and your energy and everything that you bring to the people that are within your circle and the people that are listening to this right now. And that energy is so, to me, I see it as absolutely pure. I see it as authentic, definitely heart centered, open, engaging, approachable, real, grounded, and really beautiful, like all those things. And
Thank you.
so yes, well, you have deserved it all. And so I, I just I think the more people that can listen to this and share it with other people, all of your podcasting, all of the things that you do is a service, right? And
I want to
so
remind people of their magnificence. People forget. They forget
yeah.
that they're amazing. People are so incredibly amazing,
Mm-hmm.
each and every one of us. As you were chatting earlier too, I was just thinking your first businesses, you're going for the old soul CEOs.
Yes, they have to
Yes,
be
they have
open.
they're the old soul CEOs that want
Oh,
everyone to like learn
yeah,
to
actually.
be more caring because you got your old souls that have
Yeah.
already been through
Because
everything,
they're
right?
old souls. Yes, yes, they're old souls for sure. I love that. I should
Old
draft
soul
a
CEOs.
post. Old soul to the old soul CEO. Yeah. As I was driving this morning, I was coming to the office and from home, and I was just looking at this one man. He was Sikh. He was taking a walk, and he had his turban on and his fitness clothes. And I just like looked at him. And then there was another person that was walking. Then there was a woman that was walking with a sun hat. And I just like looked at each individual person. And for one of the first times, I dove into that person. I didn't invade their space energetically, but it was like, okay, this person has thoughts and feelings and emotions and a family and has stuff going on and is on their own journey of learning. And I started looking at each individual person like how beautiful, what a fractal of God that person is. And there's
Yeah.
another one and there's another one and there's God living through each one of these individuals to expand their awareness and their consciousness. And everything just kind of like
I know,
it's
I love
like
that.
deliciously just
Yes.
connected.
I do that all the time. I'm just like, I wonder what kind of wild ride you're on. Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder why you chose to look to bring yourself in like that. Gosh, that's what a wild ride. Yeah.
What a wild ride.
Yeah.
You see people of the whale, they're like, oh, very
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
They chose a path. They
Yeah.
chose some lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
for
that's
sure.
interesting.
Well, you can even apply that to our government, right? Right now. And what's going on is like, what a wild ride they're on.
They're on a wild ride. There
They're
seems
on a
like
wild
there's a
ride.
lot of archetypes
Yeah.
showing up to shake out. So, ooh, la la la
Yes.
la. Oh man.
Yeah. And we get to benefit from all that. So that's wonderful.
At the end of the day, when it all shakes out, not saying it's comfortable as it happened.
No,
No, but that's why
no.
we have to stay so incredibly grounded in our own selves, in our own authentic truth, putting our tree roots into the ground, getting here, getting
Mm-hmm.
grounded, and then clearing our trauma, clearing the programming, clearing all this illusion so that we can hear ourselves because there is a lot of wackiness all over. And it's like, come back to yourself. And like you've been talking about, get in your heart. What do I want? What does Toni want? What does Frida want? Like that's sort of just what serves. And each one of us, it would be wonderful if we were doing that every day.
It would. And I think the more of us that model that, the easier it gets, just like any idea or way of life or behavior or habit or any of those things. And when I was talking about distractions, I was referring to government right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of distractions with it where it's just, I had this conversation with a gal that works with me, and we were talking about how it's just numbing, it's just numbing,
Too much
and
of
how
it, you have to
stress
check out.
too much of it. So she's numbed by it because she doesn't check out of it. And I just 5 minutes a day. That's kind of my
Mm-hmm.
limit. But I bring it up because I think a lot of people are kind of in that state right now. Maybe when I say a lot, I don't know how many. It's not really a numbers thing. It's a state of mind that I can see some people can fall into unless they are more conscious and aware and do want to incorporate some of these things and make it more part of their lives, part of their
Yeah.
lifestyle is really being grounded, like you're saying.
Yeah. The people that I keep close around me and the people in my community that I'm connected to, we're getting grounded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really lucky in that way and made a conscious choice to surround myself with people that are on the path. But yes, when I visit my parents, when I go outside of I go out of pocket, right? Or other places,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can feel it. And it's just sort of like
Mm-hmm.
my husband gets he goes into despair sometimes
Oh.
with the things that are on the news and stuff like that. And I
Mm.
absolutely hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just give, can be there supportive of him and bring and give him love. But yeah, it's sort of like I can't fall into that illusion. I cannot. I
No,
can use my
definitely not.
voice, I can open
Mm-hmm.
doors, I can stand in my power and truth,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't, I'm not going to look at the stock market. That's the sort of thing that you don't look at, yeah, honey. You just leave it there and then you look at it I'll look at it again in years. I'm not watching that. I'll
Right.
fall
No,
into
nor do
despair.
I. Exactly. Nor
We were
do
working
I.
hard
But
on that for most of our lives. I'm not going to go look at it. I don't want to see that. You
I
put it in there and
know
you leave it alone. I'll look back at it later. It'll go up again.
at some point, it's not a
Yeah.
short-term thing, and don't put your
Yes,
money in it unless you're willing to
you're right.
go through all the ups and downs of it. That's kind of the
Exactly.
the nature of it for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to just circle back and I would love to, because we were talking about you're teaching people or what you're bringing to the table is the idea of helping them to notice this idea that when we put words out there, when our thoughts and our actions, what we're putting out there, they create things, they create our reality. So could you talk some
Mm-hmm.
more about that? Because that's going to be part of our wrecking ball meditation. I'm so
Yes,
excited about.
absolutely. I'm so excited about this too, because thoughts, if we think about a thought, whether we verbalize it or not. So some people say, well, I thought that, but I didn't say it. So, if you say it, you can't take it back, sort of a thing. So say someone says something to a coworker or a family member out of anger or frustration, and they're just like, well, I just, I can't take that back. I can say I'm sorry, but, harm's been done. There's that. But at just a deeper level, thoughts, the things that we think, that's energy, right?
Mhm.
And so when we think thoughts, we're actually putting out something into the atmosphere. And with enough of the same thought, and with other people with similar thoughts, these thought forms can coalesce, right? They
Mhm.
can kind of coagulate together into these energies. And so, if we think about something that's going on in the world right now, we can automatically feel all these thought forms. That's what we're feeling. We're
Right.
feeling
Just
that
like
energy.
just the stock market, why I'm not looking at it. I refuse to be part of that thought form, which is people in despair. They're losing their savings, man. And, I'm in my 40s, so I don't have to look at it. But older people that are,
Right.
they have a reason to be in despair. But I don't want to get into despair, so I'm not going to look at it. But that's a thought form, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's a fearful thought form,
Right.
right? And so I look at, like my sister and her husband, he can't retire now. because of what's going on.
Yes.
So, yeah, so it creates fear, it creates a feeling of lack of stability in certain people, right?
Mhm.
So, as we put that out, there's also this energetic law of like attracts like. And so, say your thought forms are mostly fear-based. It's like having a little antenna on our head, and we're going to start attracting all of that. You hear women say, okay, my body's vibrating right now. So we're meant to talk about this. You hear sometimes women say, like, I just have a bad boyfriend picker. I just cannot pick the right, person in my life, no matter what. I just keep da 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 da. Well, it's because we're attracting what we are, right? And so if you don't want that, you need to shift yourself. And so my whole intention around this meditation, by the way, it was channeled to me initially, is that we need to shift ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions internally, and what we put out. And I was thinking, I was just in meditation. I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if we could take all that back, like
Mm.
what we're putting out? And then I saw this huge wrecking ball, and I'm like, oh, what if it's a magnetic wrecking ball? And what if, what if, what if? And it just became this amazing thing where I did this meditation several years ago, and I had a group of, I think it was 25 people, and it was all online. And later on, I went into meditation, and my guide said that we had created a vortex,
I love it.
like a powerful vortex coming down to the earth. And so I also did this on Earth Day as well. But it's essentially taking all of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions that we put out there, and I call it negative thought pollution, for lack of a
Mm.
better
Yeah.
term. It's really what it is. And we can transmute it into light, right? And when we do that, we're actually releasing all this negative, low vibrational, heavy, dense energies. We're sending it into Mother Earth to transmute, and she's happy because she's so affected by our thoughts. Like her, um, what do we want to call it? There's a part of her energetic self that's very impacted by our humans' energetic selves, and
Right.
all the other creatures and beings on this earth, right?
She ascends as we ascend. We're ascending together. It's sort of this circle of reciprocity, this thing that we're
Yes.
connected.
Yeah, so we're doing her a great service if we can take these thoughts, feelings, and emotions and then transmute them. So it's what we're doing is we're tapping into the collective consciousness of
Mhm.
humanity. We're saying, what is our part in it? What did we contribute? And when I was in meditation, I said, you know what? I'm a good person. I didn't put out that much. And as I was meditating and doing this myself for the very first time, I was like, okay, do this for a few minutes. And then I heard, nope, there's more. Keep on going, Tony. I'm like, oh, there's more. Oh my goodness. And then I thought, okay, this is also quantum
Yeah.
because, you expand yourself out to the quantum, and then you can, like, okay, let's, maybe we set an intention that this is for our past lives, our future lives,
Ooh, I
our,
love
because
that.
it's all
Oh, that would be
happening at,
great. Yes.
yeah, so let's do that. So it's essentially everything that we have put out. And so people they can get a crystal, they can light a candle when they do this meditation. And there are a couple things I want to, are you ready to kind of move
I'd
on into
love to. I'm
how,
so ready. I'm so
okay,
in.
I'm so excited too.
Oh, I was like,
So,
guys, get
so you're
ready,
going to
get
do this,
excited.
right?
Oh yeah,
Ah,
I'm gonna do it.
kick off your shoes, get comfortable. Yeah, grab a blanket somewhere where you're not going to be impacted by noise or distractions. Sometimes I put a little post-it note on my door and
Yeah,
do not
meditating.
meditating. So, a few things to know. One is during this meditation, there are just some prompts so that as you're going through it, you don't need to look at this and see me. But one is I'm going to ask you to draw a gold line through your head and also bisect. So we're going to do kind of like gold fingers, and we're going to put it just above our ear on each side, and we're going to bisect our head. That's one thing that we do. Perfect. Exactly right. Good student, Frida.
A plus.
All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to put it through our third eye and back to the back of our head. Okay. That's
Yep.
another gold line. And then where those intersect, you'll understand the rest of the meditation based on that. But that's one thing to know. Another is that I talk about our energetic bodies. And I'm very much into energy anatomy because people think like, okay, we're a body and we have an aura. Well, there's so much more than that, even beyond our chakras, which is those chakras are in alignment with layers of energy in our body. So we have our physical body, and then we have our etheric body, and that's like an inch and a half outside of our physical body, and that helps keep our matter together. It helps form us. And then we have the emotional body, and that can be pretty big on some people, like a foot and a half to 2 feet. Outside of that is our emotional body. And that's where we store a lot of these thoughts,
Hmm.
feelings and emotions primarily. And then we have a mental body outside of that. And that forms another layer of our auric field, our energetic field. And if you are closed minded, that mental body can be really thin. And if you're
Hmm.
more open minded, we're all fluid, right? So we can kind of flow in and out with our auric field. So the mental body and then the spiritual body. So think of it like those little Russian dolls, those little
Yes.
stacking dolls, one's inside the other. It's kind of like that. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So you'll have a little bit of insight into that as well. And then let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. I think that's really, really it. And just so that we're aware as we're doing this, think about not just thoughts or feelings or emotions about other people. We tend to think that first. It's so much of it is focused on ourselves and targeting ourselves with some of that negativity, right?
That's mine. That's my
Is
problem.
that yours?
That's mine. It's the ones oh Frida, you dropped that. Oh darn it, like oh your arms are fat. Like that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that
Ex
oh my gosh, yeah. I'm nice to other
ex
people.
Ah! We are often nicer to other
Yeah,
people than
right?
ourselves.
It's all
So it's
about
important to catch that. And
yes.
just a little sidebar on that note, if we find ourselves doing that, automatically, you become aware of it like, oh, I just said that about myself. Take that thought, throw it into the wrecking ball or throw it into a rose and just like or throw it into the soil, ground it out immediately and replace it with a positive thought. That's completely the opposite, whether you believe it or not, because
Yep.
that's our programming, right?
My
Down it
body
goes.
is divine and I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's like
Yes, you are divine.
yes.
You are divine.
It doesn't happen that often anymore, but when I do catch it, ever since you taught us this when we did it together a few months ago, I go, wrecking ball, ah!
Wrecking ball, yes, absolutely. And we are so divine and so amazing. And so now I'm like, I get out of the shower and I'm like putting lotion. I'm like, I love my thighs. I
Yes,
love my thighs. I did that this morning. I
I
did because I
love
used to
it.
be like, because
Yes,
my mother didn't like hers, so then I didn't like mine.
yeah,
I'm like, what?
yes.
These legs are so strong. They get me up hills. This body, so much
Hallelujah.
appreciation.
Yes,
Hallelujah.
hallelujah. All right,
Okay, well, you
let's
ready to
do
get
it.
into the meditation?
Yes, please.
All right, so let's begin. So let's find a quiet, safe space and just a restful place to sit or recline and feel fully supported by the earth beneath you. And close your eyes gently and just let the outside world just melt away. And feel your back supported by your chair. Feel the weight of your body anchoring you into this moment. Feel your feet firmly planted on the floor, touching the surface of this beautiful earth. And just take a deep breath and inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4, and out your mouth. 2, 3, 4, and an inhale. 2, 3, 4, and exhale out your mouth. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 2, 3, 4. And with each breath, just breathe at your normal pace, your natural rhythm. And with each breath, just allow the tension just to melt from your body and your awareness just to settle deeper within, within. And now, using your imagination, take your two fingers and picture them as gold and place them above your ears and create a shimmering gold line from the center of your head, which is your sacred seat of neutrality. And then take your fingers and we're going to put it right through the middle of your forehead and your other finger at the back of your head. And we're going to create another beautiful shimmering line. And where these two lines intersect, that is your sacred seat of neutrality. And we're going to take that line, we're going to continue it down through your throat, to your heart, to your abdomen, and all the way to the base of your spine, down to your root chakra, which is your gateway of stability and presence. And let's take a moment to set our intention. And you could say to yourself or aloud, I am grounding my energy. I am steady. I am safe. I am sovereign. I remain centered and present regardless of what happens around me. Now envision a grounding cord and extends from the base of your spine or your energetic root. And this is your soul's anchor into Earth's divine intelligence. And let this cord unravel just like a party favor that you would blow on. It just unfurls and it goes downward, passing through layers of soil and stone and time. And allow it to unravel and unfurl and sink all the way to the center of New Earth, of Mother Earth, of Gaia, into her beautiful crystalline core, nearly 4,000 miles below. And just envision what this cord looks like. Is it a beam of light? Is it just woven gold threads? Is it a beautiful waterfall? Or is it a root system that is made from a beautiful oak sitting on the top of the soil that represents you? Just imagine this really strong rooted foundation and how your energy and your grounding cord wraps around the crystalline core of the earth, really solidly grounding you and connecting you with her divine energy, fusing it, embracing it, and receiving from it. And feel her energy rise up to greet you. And this energy is warm and it's ancient and it's alive. And this is your return to Mother Earth, to stillness and to truth. And now that you are fully grounded, let's protect your sacred field. So, our intention for this is I am protected, I am safe, I'm surrounded by divine light, and sealed from all interference. So, now imagine yourself in this egg shaped shield forming around you. It's made of 12-inch thick glass that's impermeable to anything negative, but it allows all high vibrational energies, entities, experiences, thoughts, feelings, and emotions to flow through you. This glass egg is completely unbreakable, but it allows all this goodness in. And imagine this shimmering with divine transparency, and it surrounds you fully. It's above you, it's below you, it's to your left and right, it's in front of you and behind you, fully encompassing you. And this shields you from all low frequency energies, entities, thought forms, other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions that do not serve your highest good. It is impenetrable to that, yet fully open to love and abundance. And feel this feeling of just being held in your own divine sovereignty for a moment. Take a big inhale in and breathe out. And now that you're protected, we step into allowance and we call upon Source, God, the universe, whatever name resonates with your soul, and ask, fill my energetic field with the highest frequencies available to me now. And just see the most beautiful light coming in, rainbow light, emerald green light, the pink light of love, whatever feels appropriate and filling for you now and in alignment. And let this light fill your entire body into every atom, every cell, and between every cell. of your physical being, your etheric being, and as the layers of your auric field unfold, your emotional being, your mental field, and your spiritual field. You just feel as this connection of your field roots back down into Gaia, into Mother Earth, and all the way up to Source as a beautiful column of light. And now we step into our sacred service, which is the most exciting part of this. Now that we are grounded, we're protected, and we have allowed all of this abundance and goodness to come in, is detoxifying the collective. So now that we're attuned and we're sovereign, we turn to service, clearing what no longer belongs in the shared energetic field of humanity. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our words are energetic blueprints. They carry frequency, they shape and create our reality. So, our attention now is to clear all low vibrational thoughts, emotions, and words I've ever contributed to the collective, knowingly or unknowingly, and I offer them to be transmuted into light. I expand my consciousness out to the size of the world, out to the size of the universe, out to the size of the multiverse, out into the quantum field. And we now ask for help and protection and the safety, knowing that we can now release every negative thought, feeling, and emotion that we have ever put out in this lifetime, in past lifetimes, in future lifetimes, all that are running in parallel throughout the quantum. This is our intention that we set for us now. So now we envision a massive magnetic wrecking ball, and it's suspended 15 feet in front of you. It's dark and heavy and round and black and deeply magnetic. It's made of the heaviest iron that you can imagine. Yet it floats, it's suspended, and a chain goes from the bottom of this ball all the way down into Gaia, all the way down 4,000 miles down into the center of the earth. And this wrecking ball is magnetic, so it is going to take all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you choose to recycle and transmute, and they will go down into this wrecking ball and down into Mother Earth. So this wrecking ball is encoded with divine technology. It only absorbs, no longer serves you. It cannot harm you. It is only here to cleanse. So as we begin this process, feel it begin to draw from the atmosphere all of the energetic pollution you've contributed across your lifetimes through thoughts of fear, thoughts of judgment, thoughts of shame, of anger, of scarcity, of lack, of separation, of unworthiness, anything that you have directed outward toward everything or other people, and anything that you had directed to yourself. It is all fair game now to be released. And let's allow this to move whatever is ready to be released just within your own sovereign being that you know you are ready to release. We can take this from the atmosphere and from your physical body. And as we see this atmosphere of negative thought pollution starting to come down, pay attention to what that looks like for you. It could be just hazy thought forms, it could be blobs, it could be tarry substance, it could be anything that you see, and what you see is real. So trust in that. And let's pull all of this sticky, dense darkness. Just watch them effortlessly being pulled into the wrecking ball. The wrecking ball absorbs everything from your past, your lineage, your soul record across time, across space, across dimension, and across reality. And see now how this is becoming a spiral and how your intentions merge with the intentions of the collective, and everyone else that has done this, that will do this, is merging with their thoughts to create this unity, this power of this intention that you have set for yourself and for humanity itself. We're clearing the atmosphere of the thought pollution from humanity itself from hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away, across the country, across the globe, across the continents, throughout the universe and the multiverse, anything that you are ready to release, watch that go into the wrecking ball. And know that you are not alone in this work. Beings of light are assisting you. Mother Earth is receiving all of this. Now, with your awareness, feel the wrecking ball energy funneling down through your own grounding cord and into the heart of the earth. The wrecking ball has its own grounding cord, and you have yours as well. So, whichever direction it goes, just they are both on release. Just watch them go all the way down to the center of the earth, clearing your auric field, clearing your body, clearing your many, many layers of your physical and spiritual beings. And in the sacred core of the earth, all the darkness is transmuted into liquid gold light. These golden frequencies rise again on the backs of light beings and they're released back into the atmosphere to fill all those spaces and those holes where the darkness once filled. Watch this illuminating light as it just permeates. It goes around and wraps around the entire globe, from east to west and north to south. It just encompasses the entire world in this beautiful, beautiful glowing light of love, of healing, and of beautiful energy. And let this wash over the earth. Allow it to wash over you and wash over us all. And now we begin to close our practice. We're going to bring the light back into your body and call back your own energy. We're going to call back your energy from every place, every thought, every being you've ever touched. Our intention here can be I release all the energies that do not belong to me. I return them to earth to be transmuted with love. I call back my own energy, pure and whole and sovereign. And fill yourself with radiant light, mind, your body, and all of your many layers of your energetic bodies. And take a deep breath. And as you do, continue to allow all of this light to fill into every atom, every cell in between every cell. Just watch it as it pours into you, filling every possible space with this beautiful, crystalline light from earth and from source. Allow it to fill the spaces where you don't even know that you have spaces. Allow this divine intelligence to do the work so you can simply allow it. You do not have to force it. You do not have to push it. You do not have to control it. Just simply allow it. It knows where to go. So now let's take a deep breath and place our hands over our heart. Our awareness is back into our heart center. And we feel gratitude. We feel peace. We feel presence and awareness and love and purified and knowing that we did good today. We did good for the earth and we did good for humanity. So, with a gentle smile, we thank Mother Earth for receiving and recycling and renewing. And we begin to wiggle our fingers and tap our toes and bring our awareness back into our bodies. And we just thank all the help we received with gratitude. We are now open and clear. You are the medicine. Ah,
That was wonderful. Oh, I loved every moment. It was so
oh,
intense.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
I
still
felt
a little out
that.
there.
I know, me too. I tend to go into a space where I'm actually out into the atmosphere doing the work and helping the recycling and kind of moving the energy of the collective and
Yes,
grounding it
yes.
out and creating, adding to just encouraging that vortex to form And I think it's really beautiful because I'm feeling that there are a lot of people that have done this with me before, where they're still activated, whether
Mm,
they know it or not, and they're still contributing to this vortex. Um, and people just who have the same intentions. So all these intentions, like we talked before, they're all just magnetized together. And then
mhm.
everyone who will be seeing this, just know that everything that you can do, you may just feel like you're one person, but you're not. You're part of a collective. And
Yes.
everything that you can do helps, contributes, heals. And the more we do this, the better it gets. So
Yeah. Oh,
we
Tony,
can
thank you so
continue.
much.
Oh, thank you, Frida. You're just so lovely. I just so appreciated this opportunity to share this sacred space with you.
And as each one of us, too, just like piggybacking off of what you were just saying, it's like as we each anchor light into the earth, like it matters. Like
Hmm.
this matters. This could be our work. This is, I mean, if each of us that are listening or doing this, if we're while we are anchoring, that's the work. To
That is the
that's
work.
the work. We are becoming this beam of
Yeah.
light. We are taking the light into our body. We're sharing and radiating the light. That is the work. So yeah,
Hmm.
it doesn't make a ton of sense in our 3D reality where we have business, but that's the work. It's the whole bag.
It really is. It really is. And I think the just the openness of embracing this, even for people who haven't done this before, it just, people that are, part of my private group, they don't know why they feel better sometimes. They
Mm-hmm.
just feel better.
Yes,
And and it's because we've been cleared, we've been energetically
you're working on helping to clear. I would love
cleared.
to talk about Sparkle On Collective before we
Hmm.
end up today, because that is a way that folks can get to meet you and be part of something really super awesome that you are shepherding and at a really inexpensive price.
It is. Price, it's so funny that you bring up price because I did not want it to be a barrier for entry for
Yes.
anybody.
Yeah.
And it is, it's priced very, I'm not quite even, well, I might be covering my direct cost of the platform. What's so lovely about it, besides the cost, no barrier to entry, is that it's for women who, it's part of a collective, a sisterhood, and it's for women who want to navigate this new world together and what that looks like. And so I'm helping people to shift their energy, recalibrate their nervous systems, be able to think, positively and beyond where they are, and help move them out of victimhood
Mm,
into recognizing that they are magnificent, sovereign beings. And it's beautiful because if someone starts, kind of like your husband, maybe going into despair, we don't necessarily try to pull them out of it, but we do give them options of, support and to shift their energy if they choose to. And sometimes it might take a meeting or two, but the beauty of this is that, these women are from all over the country, currently the United States, but it's open to everyone throughout the world. There's so many beautiful people there. I've been, meeting in other countries. And it allows us to share perspectives. It helps us navigate. I pass the torch to other people so they can offer their gifts. Some people think they don't have gifts. Well, we all do.
yes,
And
everyone's here for a
sometimes
reason.
we are. And this one gal in particular, it's really about, I tell her, you are this bright beacon of light. And she's like, I am. I'm like, you are. Like, don't worry about it. That is your gift. So just own that and know that that's what you bring to every interaction, whether it's within our group or otherwise. So, and it's also very much based on wellness with my nutrition and fitness and holistic wellness, integrated wellness background. I can help people a lot with that because a lot of people struggle with, physical wellness issues that it spills over into every aspect of mental health, of depression, of aging, of hormones, of all kinds of things. So
Yep.
it's great. So I have a platform that I have a lot of content. We have the replays. We have I've written 3 books. I think there are a couple of them on there currently, along with presentations that I've done for companies and things like that. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. So
And
yeah, I would welcome anybody. Mhm.
how can they find the Sparkle On Collective?
Well, we can include a link here when you post this for
Mhm.
certain. And if you go to my website, it's tonyjulian.com. So Tony with an I, julian.com. And there's a page that is about Sparkle On. It says, become a Sparkle On collaborator. I call people collaborators because we are all in this journey together as equals. I'm more of a facilitator that brings a lot of content to it.
That's
So that's the
beautiful.
best way to join. Yeah.
Oh, Tony, thank you so much for spending time with
Aw.
me today. I am still a little out there. I'm going to actually finish up with you and I'm going to go walk in the woods because I need to go out into nature right now.
I think there's a favorite tree I'm going to go
Yes.
hug that's outside of my office, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to do exactly the same. Thank you. I'm still a little bit
Yeah.
spacey and out there too. I'm like, yeah, what is my website? What is the name of my group?
Oh
Thank
my
you,
goodness.
Frida. You are just a joy and a delight, and I'm just really honored to be here and support what you do and just help share this message of anchoring in that light for our earth.
Yeah, our
It's a
beautiful Mother
beautiful
Earth.
thing that
Thank
we
you,
can do.
Tony.
Thank you, Frida.
I love
Aw,
you.
I love you too.
Oh,
Take
and God,
care.
Universe Source loves you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You as well, and everyone listening.